Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you. It's actually Durham, North Carolina instead of Raleigh, but it's close enough. And if you're interested in my work, you can go to my website, limitlessjudaism.com, and sign up at the bottom. And when I get your email, we will be putting out information for registration. Mark has been highlighting gratitude both yesterday and today, which is completely appropriate given that we are in the week of Thanksgiving. And I think that cultivating gratitude is something that is on our minds around this time of the year, but is also just a beautiful practice for us for so many reasons. I recently researched the benefits of cultivating a gratitude practice, and they're almost exactly the same as the benefits of cultivating a meditation practice. Here are just a couple. Improving focus, increasing one's positive outlook, increasing emotional resiliency. And right now, that's something that we might all feel a great benefit from. Here's one: releases dopamine and serotonin, which are neurochemicals associated with happiness and pleasure. And one of the things that I really am touched most about with cultivating a gratitude practice is, in addition to what it can give to us in self-esteem and patience and improving our sleep, it also affects the positive outcome of the interactions we have with others. And that goes to the others that we're very, very close to, and also others that we may be less close to or may feel that we are different from. So at this time in our culture, at this time in our world, where there is so much polarity and so much dissonance and perhaps fear and anxiety, if we can find gratitude in ourselves and offer that out to others, it is one of those tiny little steps that can help to heal all the pain that we feel in our world. So that's what I wanted to focus on today. And specifically, I'd like to bring in a teaching of the late Alan Liu of blessed memory. And I'm bringing in this teaching particularly because we're in a time of pain since the election. Since October 7th of last year, it seems that rather than things getting better and easier, they're getting more and more challenging and more uncomfortable. And so this teaching is one that Rabbi Alan Liu created with regards to the holiday of Sukkot, where we're commanded to be joyful. But I think that gratitude, which brings us happiness and joy, is connected to this teaching. And so he said, when we speak of joy, we're not speaking of fun. Joy is a deep release of the soul, and it includes death and pain. Joy, he says, is any feeling fully felt, any experience we give our whole being to. We're conditioned to choose pleasure, he says, and to reject pain. But the truth is that any moment of our life that we fully inhabit, any feeling that we give ourselves permission to fully feel, any immersion in the depth of life can be the source of deep joy. And I choose this right now because so many people that I speak with express their discomfort and their fear or their anger or their hurt or their confusion or their uncertainty about what's coming right here in the United States, let alone what's coming in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank and Lebanon and Iran. So today I will invite us inward to ourselves to feel whatever it is there to feel, and to invite us in to give ourselves that permission to fully be and see what that will be. So I
Robin,
invite us to take our
Robin, I'm
seats.
sorry, you're Robin. You're breaking
Yeah,
up. Your
yeah,
I think your
yeah.
internet is a little sketchy. I'm wondering if maybe even if you turn off the camera, maybe we might hear you more clearly. because it's the
I will
audio.
try that.
Yeah,
And if it,
I'm sorry,
and
but it
I'm
might
going to,
be better.
no, I appreciate that. I'm going to do that and I'm just going to test and you can tell me if it's any better. Is that any different? Is that any better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, great.
Okay,
All
sorry.
right.
Thanks.
No, I totally appreciate that. Thank you. So let's take our seat, wherever that seat may be. Perhaps you're sitting, perhaps you're reclining, perhaps you're lying down. Wherever you are, I invite you to allow yourself to settle. Feel your feet. If they're on the ground below you and you're in a chair, feel them reaching down into the earth. And feel them being received by the earth and supported. And notice your legs. Allow them to fall into your feet, bringing your attention to your pelvic girdle, allowing it too to rest and be supported by the earth. And if you're reclining or lying down, allow your lower body to sink into the surface beneath you and be fully supported by that surface. And bring your attention to your middle, your back behind your belly button, your belly area. Notice if there's tension here. This area holds our kidneys, which is where we hold most of our stress. And as you bring your attention up from your lower belly to your middle belly, your solar plexus, and your back behind that where the adrenals are, receiving the data from our kidneys. See if there's stress here. And if there is, notice it. Allow it to be. And if it's at all possible, see if you can soften in your lower back around your kidneys, in your middle back around your adrenal glands. Soften in your solar plexus. And as we bring our attention higher up the spine, become aware of your spine between your shoulder blades, the back of the heart. Bring your attention to the heart in the front and the chest and the thymus, which is just a little bit above the heart, which helps support our immune system. And as you're feeling these parts of you, say thank you for your heart's pumping of blood, for your thymus's regulatory capacity, for your body's ability to respond to stimulus, even if it happens to be with anxiety. Bring your attention to your throat. Soften in your chest, perhaps placing a hand over your heart, over your thymus. And allow yourself to expel a nice full breath. Sigh if that feels right for you. Bring your attention higher up to the top of your throat, your jaw, your tongue. Is there holding here at all? Just notice that. And continue your attention lifting to the inside of your head, the light that comes in through your eyes, through your crown chakra, through your third eye, through your ears, maybe even through your mouth. And the light that comes out through these same places, the light that is uniquely yours. And now I invite you to bring your attention to wherever it is called. Perhaps it's to your breath. Perhaps it's to a pain in your back. Perhaps it's a grinding in your belly, or tension above your eyebrows. Or something else. Take a little bit of time to see where your attention is drawn. And as you find this place, allow your presence to rest there fully. It may be uncomfortable. It may be filled with tension or pain, physical pain, or emotion. Take a few minutes just to create a relationship with this experience. And I'll come back in a bit. When you're ready, perhaps cradle this place, bringing in loving attention. You might imagine caring hands coming in and scooping around this place inside of you with nourishing love, with comforting touch, with understanding. You might even see those hands gently stroking or rubbing to bring in warmth, moisture, blood flow, light. Take some time with this, and we'll connect again in a few minutes. I invite you to bring your awareness back to the space that you're in. Gently, kindly, with gratitude, bringing your awareness away from this place, thanking it for caring for you, for teaching you, and acknowledging to yourself that you have this ability to go back and tender this place at any moment. Mark, I bring it back to you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Robin Damsky.
You're welcome.
Really beautiful practice today, and let's seal it as we do each day, offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard side, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish to do so. If you're not reciting Kaddish, as always, we ask that you just stay present for a few minutes to support those who are, upping your compassion and your attention and your presence. And if you'd like to share the name or names of anyone that you're honoring today in the chat, you're welcome to do so now or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're joining me, please rise in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Dibra Chirute, Mamlith Malchute,
Amen.
Tayechom, Adonechom, Taye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv, V'yimru,
Amen.
Amen.
Yeshmei Rabba
Yeshme
Mira,
Rabba
Avam
Mira,
Lahem Amaya,
May Amaya.
Barach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitzamam, Yitnaseh, Yitkar,
Amaya.
Yitalel, Yitalal, Shemei Dechushan,
Yehu.
Ela mikol birkata v'shirata v'shbechata v'nachamata amiran ba'alma v'imru
Damiran Balma
amen.
Vimru Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chaim alenu v'yalko Yisrael v'imru amen.
Israel Vimru Amen.
Oseh shalom b'romav
Amen.
u'yaseh shalom alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yalko Yevel
Amen.
v'imru amen.
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 Friends, thanks so much for joining us today. Just a reminder, we will be meeting tomorrow, Erev Thanksgiving here in the US. And Rabbi Lauren Tuckman will be leading us to practice tomorrow. And then we're on a short Thanksgiving hiatus. We'll be back next Monday. So if you're leaving us now, hope you can join us tomorrow. Take a break from your cooking or travel or whatever you'll be busy with tomorrow, and join us to share some gratitude together before Thanksgiving, and we'll pick up next week. And as always, thanks to Rachel Huga for holding our tech space today. Rachel, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat the link for those of you who are moved to make a contribution in this period when we have a matching offer. Thanks for considering that, and really appreciate your presence as well as your contributions if that's something that's possible for you. Thanks, Rachel, for that. And of course, thanks to our teacher today, Rabbi Robin Damsky. And if you have a question for Robin, please put it in the chat. You can preface it by writing question all in caps, and or just share reflections on your experience today. Robin, if you don't mind putting in the chat again the quote from Alan Liu that you used,
Yeah.
so great. And it's nice to
And
see you again. But I
yeah, I'll
think that
try
was
to do the video. We'll see how it goes.
right now it's fine. It was a good call.
Okay.
Your audio is nice and clear. And
Okay.
actually, I want to start with that because, whenever there's a bump, right, there's such a practice opportunity. And it struck me that I thought, oh, this is actually, I don't know how it felt for you, but I thought, oh, this is actually good because there isn't that impulse to look at the screen and see, look at the teacher as it. And since you are really inviting people to bring their attention inward, it actually, I think, helped me quite a bit. I'm
Mm.
interested how other people experience that, not seeing the teacher on the screen. Well, we saw you, but not live.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, what do you think about that? That's just
It,
like
it's
having the
it's
audio, the audio.
yeah.
Yeah.
On the upside, maybe 2 years ago, I would have gotten really flustered if something like that had happened, and it was like, okay, I'll turn off the video. And I had a similar experience. Like I kept opening my eyes and thinking, all right, nobody sees me.
Right.
It's quieting. It's
Hmm.
quieting. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Here's a question from Jacqueline Gordon. Can you please expand on the idea of joy being defined, perhaps in Hebrew, as any fully felt emotion? That's from the quote from Rabbi Alan Lew, and you pointed out
Yeah.
that it doesn't mean that joy doesn't mean fun or happy in this, in the way that we might think of it in those English terms.
Yes.
In the U.S., joy is generally defined as a positive emotion. So let's explore that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, um, it's emotions are so interesting. I just had this thought of dancing at a wedding, which is so joy-filled, and then we're in tears. And are those tears of joy? Are those tears of a memory of someone who's not there as and combined with the beauty of the moment? And I think that the way that I would understand that for myself is that if I give myself permission to sit fully in who I am, that in
Hmm.
and of itself
Hmm.
is a fullness. And I think of that is perhaps what Alan Lew was getting at when he used the word joy. It's a fullness.
Hmm.
And if I don't give myself permission to really be with who I am, first, I'm cutting myself off from my experience. And second of all, there's a dissonance because part of me is here and part of me is there. And part of me is saying, I should or I shouldn't, and I can't and I don't. But if I give myself full permission to say, oh, this hurts,
Hmm.
then all of a sudden there's this opening. And I also think that a piece of this goes back to that Buddhist teaching about impermanence, that when I allow myself to fully embody whatever it is,
Hmm.
it shifts.
Hmm.
It's like that baby who is crying and then, the little toy gets jingled up and they're all of a sudden they're smiling and laughing. That there's this ability, if we fully are with ourselves, there's this freedom that I think that opens up. And I think that may be part of that process. I'm not sure if that's a clear answer. Who was that who asked?
It was Jacqueline.
Jacqueline. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's a clear answer, Jacqueline, but that's like touching the edges of it, I think.
Hmm. Um, I'm just going to share this, and I want to come back to that topic. Judith wrote, "I'm actually at the Metropolitan Museum. I took a break and sat in their sculpture area. Wow. When I opened my eyes, I saw a Maillot sculpture of a woman sitting head in hands, and the trees still slightly yellow in Central Park." Thank you for sharing that. That's quite beautiful.
Mm.
Um, let's circle back to that again also, but let's stay with this for a second. So use the word fullness, which I
Yeah.
think is helpful. And the word joy maybe does throw us off. Joy sounds like an ecstatic kind of happiness, right?
Mm.
And I wonder if maybe it doesn't work so well to convey what he's talking about. Like you use the word fullness.
Mhm.
I'm just going to throw out some other words that maybe might refer to this. Um, Deep connection, intimacy,
Mm.
um, where the emotions and the thoughts and the sensations are portals to a state of mind or state of being that, in a sense, kind of transcends those emotions, right? There might be joy that we think about, right? That we think about as happiness or joy that arises part of that. But in meditation practice, people will often describe it as being flush with our experience, where there's no space between ourselves and experience, life itself. And classically in Jewish mysticism, there's that term dveikut, cleaving, where there's like, you know, everything is there. So that even if we're feeling pain, sadness, grief, any negative emotion or uncomfortable, we kind of, in theory anyway, I think, move through that to a state of deep connection, like you were just saying, fullness. We feel full, not lack. And that's, I don't know if we even have a word for that, right?
It's interesting because as I was listening to you, one of the words that showed up for me was beauty.
Mm.
And if I can be in my experience, sometimes it's really unpleasant, right? If we look at Buddhist terminology, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, which we might say parv, it may be unpleasant. And if I really say, okay, this is real, right? As Alan Liu, this is real. This is what it is. And then there's that beauty of actually having the capacity to have that experience. How beautiful it is that we can feel grief fully. How beautiful it is that we can feel pain fully, or even fear. Fear may be harder because we're activated. But if we can even allow ourselves to touch that, then even there's this like three-dimensional multipleness, that it's not just one thing. And it's the beauty of our vitality and the beauty of our capacity. So perhaps that is some of what Alan Liu was, please God, Alan, if I'm totally messing up your intention, I apologize. Maybe that's what he was trying to get at. And he did actually create, he wrote this around the holiday of Sukkot, in which we're commanded to be joyful. But we're not necessarily commanded to guffaw. We're not commanded to laugh. We're commanded to experience the joy of the fullness of existence. And that's with all, like the giant rainbow spectrum, right? Of everything that is involved in our humanity and our world.
I'm thinking that also Shabbat is another Jewish angle or, way of framing this, that, mourning, when one is in mourning in Shiva, right? You don't, Shiva is kind of, it's Shiva, you're still in Shiva. Like Shabbat counts as a day of Shiva. But in a sense, it's Shabbat. Like you're in it's a different mode,
Yeah.
So that sense of moving through, like somebody wrote, I think that maybe even the categorization of emotions as, positive or negative or pleasant and unpleasant is part of the quote problem. I don't know if it's a problem. It's just sort of a recognition of living in a world of differentiation. But this is about moving into a state beyond the world of differentiation of oneness, that is Shabbat, or being full or flush with experience, or dveikut. So, and I do want to get to Dee's point, which is, challenging but important. We'll get to that in a second. But before we get that, Robin, like, what do you think about thinking about this as a kind of, this is the joy of Shabbat, or maybe in your terms, we don't say Shabbat Sameach, happy Shabbat.
Right.
We say Shabbat Shalom, full
Wholeness,
Shabbat,
right?
full
Shlemut,
Shabbat,
right?
full Shabbat,
Wholeness.
right?
And I was thinking about that, like how many times in current language have we heard, or maybe we've even said, this part of me versus that part of me? And what is the experience of bringing it all whole, bring it all together as a home? And I think we are not necessarily invited in our world to be fully resonant in our experience. People don't want to see that we're angry or that we're frightened or that we're in pain. And I think one of the beauties of this practice is that we begin to open up our ability to be in those places and recognize that we'll still come out the other end.
Right.
Even if we're terrified, we'll still come out the other side. I just want a quick response to one of the notes in the chat.
Yeah.
For the registration for my courses, if you go to the bottom of my website page and fill out a contact, that I will get that information to you. It's not, we're just putting it together at this very minute.
Okay.
So I think that full embodiedness is a joyful thing. And I think that is an opportunity that Shabbat provides us because we let go of some of the distractions.
Mm. Okay, so we have 2 minutes, and Dee's question, which is, I don't know if you read it, is quite is important, challenging, about awareness of privilege, of about what we do about a moment or experience of Thanksgiving, which conjures up a very difficult, complicated, painful history. And I think it goes to this question of the starting point being honest about all those feelings and not running away from things that might challenge us, right?
Yeah.
To get to a better place. I think just to frame that question a little bit. So I don't know, in the
Interestingly
couple of
enough,
minutes we've got, you want to respond to that one?
yeah, interestingly enough, Dee, in my practice today, I had a moment of, had a real moment of acknowledging how blessed I am. And I don't mean this to be petty or a pat answer, because it isn't. And the challenges of the world are full and hard and great. And every time we can touch someone who has pain, that softens that pain just a little bit. We humanize others. We bring light to others. And there's so much work to be done. We each can do whatever we can do in our sphere. And some of us commit our lives to this, and some of us commit little moments in our day to this. The way to heal those wounds, I think, is to reach out, really to reach out and to be cognizant, to be humble enough to say, not everybody has had the opportunities that I have had, even though I feel like I'm in huge pain right now, and I'm terrified right now that I may have more opportunity than so many others. So I acknowledge and appreciate what you put forward, Dee. It's a big question.
Yeah, I hope we all can kind of sit, not just sit with that question, but let it seep into us about acknowledging privilege, acknowledging injustice, acknowledging just pain. And what you did today, I think, Robin, was really an important way of saying we're turning towards each of those things, even if we might have a natural inclination to look away from them. And that that's the only route to healing and repair, is to do that.
And
So,
the final piece of that is when we can acknowledge it in ourselves, we can be here. We
right,
can then acknowledge it and be there for that pain in others in a way
right.
that we wouldn't be able to otherwise, I think.
Amen. Okay. Well done. Thank you so much, Robin, as
Thanks,
always.
everybody.
Thanks,
Blessings
everyone.
to us all.
Thanks, Rachel. Thank you. Thanks, each of you, for being here. We'll see you tomorrow with Rabbi Lauren Tuckman, everyone. Blessings. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
I'm going to mention actually, Rachel is keeping the Zoom room open for a couple of minutes for those who would like to save the chat. Just want to remind people that if you'd like to, in the chat, if you see the three dots at the top of the chat window, click on that. It should give you the opportunity to save the chat, which is each day is always full of great stuff, and today also has the quote from Rabbi Ellen Lu that Robin shared, and the link to her website and information about her offerings. So please take advantage of that.